Welcome to the Slow Living Collective podcast. I'm Amy, wife, mother of two and devoted homemaker. Join me on this journey as we explore the beauty of slow and simple living, where life unfolds at its own unhurried pace. I'll take you through my experiences of slowing down, tending to our allotment plot, finding joy in the little things and making the most of our small home. Together we'll learn to live in harmony with the ever-changing seasons, discovering the magic that lies in embracing the present moment. So let's embark on this enriching adventure towards a more intentional and fulfilling life. Hey everyone! I bet you didn't expect me back in your earbuds. I bet you were thinking, where is she gone? Has she given up on this podcast or what? No, everything is fine, but I just took a little break and it turned into a little more of an extended break. So here is the lowdown. I batch record and pre-record, and a lot of what I do has been done well in advance, and that goes for solo shows but also my guest episodes as well. With my guest episodes, what I tend to do is just have this period where I just batch record for 2 to 3 months of the year, where I'm just recording with people, you know, a couple of times a week, and then I have this sort of library of stuff that I can then put out throughout the year. And for me, that was at the end of last year. But I also do sort of batch my solo shows as well. So I actually haven't sat down with the microphone since the beginning of 2024, and I knew I was coming up to the point where my episodes were going to run dry and I hadn't recorded anymore. And it just so happened that it was on like the day before. It was on my mind. I knew I needed to get it done, and I didn't make time for it. And then it was Sunday and I was like, I don't have an episode for tomorrow, but the next day I was going on holiday. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just take a break. I've not taken a break for a long time. My episodes are scheduled and it's like back to back. But yeah, I decided I would just take a break. And then I came back from holiday, and this was the end of April. And yeah, I decided, do you know what? Just going to take a little bit more of a break, and I will come back to it when it feels like it's not, I've got to do that, and not a chore. And so it's been a little while, and I'm glad to be back. The intention was always to come back. It wasn't to just end it there. I've got a lot of guest episodes coming up for you guys, which I'm hoping that you will love as much as I loved recording them. Some fantastic people, and yeah, so just stay tuned for that. But I knew I needed to get a solo episode done, so it was just one of those things. Sometimes you don't realise you need a rest, but actually you do, and it's nice to come back to things with fresh eyes, I think. And so I've taken a nice break, and I said, I know what I'll do. I will just come back in June. I was going to say January. Come back in June and just start fresh. So just over a month without episodes, and new one for me. I sort of was lightly showing up on social media during this time, but again, just having a bit of an all-round break. I also took a break from my newsletter as well, so yeah, sometimes you just got to honour the rest, and you know, I talk a lot about honouring rest and just honouring like those feelings when they come round, and it would be totally remiss of me to not honour them in myself. So anyway, I'm back, and today I wanted to do a urban homestead garden allotment update. So I thought that would be a great place to start because it's been busy, and to be honest, you know, taking time off from doing, you know, the podcast, blog posts, newsletters and stuff has been lovely. Just not having to think about it, or that has always been in the back of my mind, like I do need to get it done, which doesn't necessarily equal complete rest, but it's been a busy season, getting the allotment ready for the year. So I haven't been sat with my feet up. I have been down on the plot and just loving it, absolutely loving it. We have been out there a lot. Like I mentioned, we also went on holiday. That was just me and the two children. My husband was at home and I went with my mum, and then came back, and he's also had a week off in this time that I've been gone as well, and we spent a lot of time at the plot, but we also did a couple of like day trips, and so yeah, lots and lots of exciting stuff been going on. So I've already talked your ear off for 5 minutes and not really told you much at all, so let's just dive into the episode. Are you looking for a delicious way to live a more sustainable and mindful life? Look no further, because I've got something special just for you. Introducing Riverford Organic, your gateway to fresh organic fruit and vegetable boxes delivered right to your doorstep. When you choose Riverford, you're not just eating organic, you're supporting an ethical business that believes in food that's good for the planet and your well-being. Eating organic means you're savouring food grown with care, free from harmful chemicals and absolutely bursting with flavour. By choosing Riverford, you're supporting a business that is committed to sustainability, is employee-owned and passionate about reducing food waste. Embrace the seasons with a rotating variety of fruits and vegetables, fresh, local and in harmony with nature. Riverford has been a game changer for our family, and I think it could be for yours too. There is nothing more exciting for me than grabbing my Riverford box off my doorstep on delivery day. But there's more. As a treat for you guys, you can enjoy a £15 credit towards your second order. Simply sign up at theslowlivingcollective.com/Riverford to claim your credit and start your journey towards healthier, ethical and more seasonal eating. Oh my goodness, let's dive into it. It feels so weird to be back and talking and sitting here talking into a microphone. It feels wild, but let's do it. Let's dive in. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of an update today about life here on our hill. We live on top of a hill, and I wanted to talk to you about stuff going on at home, stuff going on the allotment, where we're at, what we've been up to, what we've been doing, and just give you an all-round update before we dive into the rest of the year on this podcast. And so let's do it. Let's start with home. So we have been having building work on our home for the last couple of months. Actually, I hope by the time I post this that it will be done, because we're really, really close. So basically we have short story, long story, really long story, but I'm going to make it short for you. We had the cladding and insulation incorrectly removed from the outside of our building in 2021, just over 3 years ago now, and we have been living without cladding and insulation all that time. No insulation, can you imagine it? It's obviously damaged our homes to, well, a big extent really. And yeah, that building work started to put it back on. It was a big battle, a big fight. I'm not even doing this story any justice, and I've mentioned it before, and I will get round to doing an episode on it. I think I'm just I want the work to be done and dusted, and then I will sit down and tell you all about it. But that building work started back in early March when they first put the scaffolding up. I almost cried, I'm not gonna lie. Looked out the window, saw the scaffolding going up, and it has been such a fight and such a battle to get to this point that I kind of didn't believe it would ever happen, even though I knew it would have to happen at some point. It was just so surreal, but we finally have that cladding and insulation on at the back of our house. We are currently having it done at the front. Like I said, I hope by the time this episode airs it will be done, because to be honest, it's not that far now. We have the insulation and everything is done except the cladding boards, so I'm really, really excited for the scaffolding to come down, because I haven't really been able to use my balcony, and you guys know that I am the biggest fan of my balcony. So the weather has been starting to get really good, so I'm really looking forward to putting the balcony back together. I actually went and got some new bits for it, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to put some bamboo screening back up, which I had reed screening up a long time ago, and then I've had a few years where I haven't had it. I'm going to put some bamboo screening up. I'm going to put my IKEA floor back down that I love, and my trellises up, and yeah, gonna do some. I haven't been able to grow at all out there. I did have, the only thing I sort of left out there, I had to like deconstruct the whole balcony, take it apart, take everything down. My house is overflowing because I've got so much more stuff in here than I am used to having, because we also cleared out a garage. But that's good, because we cleared out our garage because we wanted to start parking in it again, and that's been fantastic. It's fantastic not having to fight for a parking space, I'll tell you that. It's really, really nice. And yeah, so a byproduct of clearing out the garage meant we did bring a few extra bits inside. It will all even itself out, but we also have all of the stuff from the balcony currently in the cupboard downstairs, so it's just a little tight at the moment, and that's small home life. I've spent a lot of time decluttering, and so it's a little difficult at the moment because there's more stuff than I necessarily feel comfortable with, but I know it's not for much longer, and I have to remind myself that having the building work done is firstly so essential, but secondly, I fought so hard for it. I fought so hard and worked so hard, and so a few months of discomfort is worth it for the overall goal. But yeah, so I've been sort of planning how I'm going to get the balcony done, because actually my balcony in recent years has, although it's been, you know, I've made it nice and whatnot, I always knew that this point would come where I would have to take it apart. So this will be, at least I'll be able to put it down and know that there will be sort of nothing in the pipeline that would mean I would have to take it all apart. So I'm going to put my trellis back up, but I not so much growing this year, so certainly I've missed, you know, the early part of the season. I think I'm gonna get some, I've got some stuff in my greenhouse, but so I'm just gonna do kind of like a kitchen and medicinal herb garden on the balcony this year. So currently I've got nothing there except a few strawberries, which I'm actually going to take to the allotment because they are not thriving. And that is purely because they've been under scaffolding for the last couple of months, and it's very difficult where we're placed. That we've got scaffold boards like directly above us. It's very dark on our balcony, and we're not used to it at all, because it's obviously making our home dark as well. We've got so many windows, we are used to so much light. I actually think yeah, it just feels weird. I think it's probably like people who don't have so many windows, it's normal, but it just feels very, very dark for us. So there's that, and so that is naturally gonna, like, the building work is naturally gonna lead to some renovations around our home, because of not having cladding and insulation, we ended up with a lot of mould. All the properties did. It's really frustrating because it's not something that was ever an issue in the 5 years prior that we lived here, but it has been a problem every winter for the last few years. So that's disappointing, but we can treat it, and we can paint and renovate the walls, and it will all be fine. But that means we obviously are going to have a little bit of an upheaval, and it gets very hot in our house in the summer, but I've got to have it done before the winter, so I don't know, we'll get it done. We've also got plans, because we have known that we would have these renovations coming up, a bit like how, you know, I always knew that the balcony was going to need to be deconstructed one day. I've always known that when the cladding and insulation went back on, we would have to do this renovation work. So we haven't done anything sort of in the last couple of years too much, because there's been sort of no point really. So we are going to renovate our bedroom first, and my husband works from home full time, and he has always worked in the kids' bedroom, and that's solely because they don't sleep in there, because they co-sleep. So what I want to do is actually we want to renovate our bedroom to get rid of the mould and stuff, but part of that we are going to actually make a space for him. Need to move some furniture around a little bit. We don't have a lot of stuff in our bedroom anyway, but we're going to move the furniture around to make it all work a little bit better, and then he will have a desk space in our bedroom and he will work solely in here, which will then eventually free up the kids' bedroom for when we decide to renovate that. No hurry, it's not one of the rooms that had cladding on it, and yeah, there's just no hurry. They show no signs of not wanting to go sleep with us, so we're cool with that. And it just gives us a bit more space. It's like I explained to my husband, like it's like one of those puzzles, you know, those puzzles where there's only one piece missing and you have to slide all the pieces around. It feels like if I can move him out of that room, everything else will fall into place. So that requires us to do our bedroom, so that is on the list. And then also we will just need to do some sort of light repair work, let's say, on the cladded walls that are in our living room and our kitchen. Thankfully they're not massive walls, so they are second on the list after the bedroom. The bedroom is priority. Then and I should probably add, like I say that the walls have mould on them, I obviously clean them off, but once it's in, you need to treat it properly to remove it. So yeah, this will be the final clear off. I was just sort of waiting, I guess, for the cladding and insulation to be put back on, and then that way I know that there is nothing that's bothering it from the outside. Like I can clean it off all day long, and I have been for the last 3 years, but you know, fighting a losing battle against an outside exposed wall. So that's that being done. We have just renovated our downstairs hallway. Renovation sounds like a massive word, and I just retiled the floor, but it's something I've wanted to do for a long time. We had, since we moved in, there's been carpet there, and although we have a communal hallway, so we're not coming straight in from the outside, straight through our front door, well, you know, there's some stairs and a corridor, you know, we're still coming in with dirty shoes, and carpet is just not ideal at all. So finally got around to that. I don't know why it took me so long, because it's something I've wanted to do since day dot, but finally got round to doing it and love it. Pulled up the carpet, tiled the floor with a beautiful and quite bold tile. So I really like white walls in my house, and I always have. I like the clean freshness. I think we've got it's very, like I said, it's very bright in our house because we've got so many windows as well. Just really like how crisp white looks. But my hallway, actually, my upstairs and downstairs hallway, they have white on the top above the dado rail, and then they are more bold for me anyway, with navy at the bottom. So with the downstairs hallway renovation, I went for tiles that incorporated the white and the navy, but also orange as well, and it looks really, really nice. Now our hallway is tiny. This wasn't a big project, but it was irritating, like cutting tile and things like that, but it looks really good. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. It's really brightened it up, and finally did it. So that's what's going on with the house. Like I said, I'm looking forward to getting the balcony done. Got lots of little things, like new things that I'm just waiting to put out there. The bamboo privacy screening, going to put the old floor down, like I said. I have the allotment floor from IKEA, and if you have a balcony or you're looking for like something you want to like have an outdoor tile on, it's perfect. I absolutely love it. Very, very easy to work with, easy to cut, easy to, you know, like I've got like posts in my balcony surround, so it's just very easy to work around those things. So definitely recommend that. I'm sure IKEA still do it, and it's quite affordable in comparison. So I used to have like the clip together ones that were wooden, and they're quite expensive. Lovely, but also they didn't last either. They didn't really last. The underneath degraded and the wooden bits came off. So yeah, I recommend the allotment flooring from IKEA if you're ever in the market for it. So put that back down. I've also bought myself a storage box that fits on the balcony, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually going to get some foam and make like an outdoor cushion for the top of it, and hoping to just store like outdoor stuff. Like we have a lot of like outdoor cushions. We've got floor cushions and seat cushions, and they're in the house at the moment. Actually, I always store them in the house because I haven't had anywhere outside to really put them. Some of them went in the garage, but it's just never been ideal. And so yeah, I'm hoping to store those outside, and yeah, just get it all looking nice. I'm going to put my trellis back up. I've got some lovely new pots that I'm going to put all my herbs in, and yeah, we're going to have a fantastic summer out on the balcony. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I will definitely share as I do that. I'll share as I do all of the renovations. So probably the best place to find me for those things is either on Instagram or on TikTok. I have definitely found a bit of a gardening flow with TikTok. I'm sharing a lot of gardening content there, so I'm there at the Slow Living Collective on both, so you can find me over there and see my gardening, small home, simple living, all of that stuff. So that's the house, pretty much. Lots to do, exciting stuff to do, and it'll be fantastic when it's done. The allotment has also been next on our agenda. We spent a lot of time at the allotment, firstly because I don't know about where you guys were, but I'm sure it was the same, if you're UK based at least, that the weather in early spring was just rubbish. It was so difficult to get down to the allotment and so difficult to do anything really. I have clay soil, so you know I can't be stomping all over it because that just makes it worse. Very clumpy and clayey, and you know I just don't like to compact it, and every weekend it would rain. So anyway, finally the weather turned round and we was able to spend a good amount of time at the plot and really sort of woke it up from winter. We've done so well this year. I'm like literally so proud of how it looks. Again, go check it out on Instagram because that's sort of generally where I share that sort of stuff, or TikTok. You can come find me on TikTok. Yeah, so it's looking really good and I'm really pleased. We've worked really hard. We painted the shed, which was something again that I meant to do last year but sort of never really got in character for. Painted it like a really nice blue. Wasn't what I intended. I was going to paint it purple, but then I had a change of mind when I was in the shop and I saw the price of the purple cuprinol versus Wix's own shed and fence paint, which was like half the price of the cuprinol. So and they didn't have lilac, and so I was like, okay, blue it is then. And it looks great. I'm really pleased with it. And we also created a space next to our shed, which was just sort of like a bit of a dumping area for like old wood and stuff. We created a space there and we put some bark down, and we've bought the kids' mud kitchen. So that used to be on the balcony at home. We bought the kids' mud kitchen to the allotment, and yeah, it looks good. And then I got an old table and chairs set that we used to have on the balcony years ago, and I took down to the allotment last year, never used it, just put it in storage. So we got that out, and so they've got a space to sit at the table. We've been doing some like homemade stuff down there. They've got the mud kitchen. It's all like bark on the floor, and it's just really good. So that whole area is looking good. Another thing we did was we redid the floor on our greenhouse. So when we got our greenhouse, we got a metal base. So the metal base had like spikes in each corner, you know, just to sort of stabilize it. And so when we did the greenhouse first, it was last April 2023, it was quite late. I really wanted to get going with you know, with the growing season, and so we threw it up, and I thought, well, you know, I'll deal with the floor another time. Originally it just had like a muddy floor and it was a bit uneven. It was not nice. It was just not nice. And sort of, I don't know, summertime last year I thought, I know the best thing to do is suppress all these weeds. I'll put like cardboard down. Still wasn't very nice though, and so I had this idea over the winter that we actually have a shed base is I think they call it a French drain. So it's like a grid system, one of those plastic grid systems, and then you lay down a piece of like weed stopping membrane, which is not perfect because there are weeds still coming through. Not perfect, but you put down this weed membrane, and then you put this black grid thing over the top and secure it down, and then you fill the whole thing with pea shingle, and it just helps the water drain away from the base and therefore not rot it. Worked really, really great on our shed. Really, really happy with it. And so we had extra grids left over. I don't know why must have been a reason why we ordered a second lot, and I can't remember what it was. Can't remember what the reason was, but we had this whole I think it was like an 8 by 6. Now my greenhouse is 6 by 4, so plenty. And so I said to my husband, actually, why don't we redo the floor in the greenhouse? So we did. We spent a weekend. We took everything out. And we put down this weed membrane. Well, we levelled off the floor because it wasn't even. Levelled off the floor. We put this weed membrane down. We cut the grids to size. And then we filled it with pea shingle. And I am in love. I am in love. And one of the main reasons that I wanted to do that, firstly because the floor really, really needed it. And I couldn't, it just wasn't nice the way it was. But secondly, what I want to do is, because my greenhouse is small, it's just a 6 by 4, it's all I could afford, and all I had space for. So what I wanted to do was, my greenhouse, I'm very heavy this time of year in, seeds, and, that's where all of my little seedlings come to life in there. And so I've got lots of shelving and a place where I can do all of my sowing and my potting on and everything. But and last year I just left it like that, but my goal with doing the floor is that when seed sowing is done and everything is out of the greenhouse, I can take all of the trays and take all of the shelving out, take it down, store it for next year, and then I'm going to put grow bags down. In the corner I have a small raised bed that I did my cucumbers in last year, but I just want to do more things in the greenhouse as well. I've a massive allotment, lots of stuff outside, but things like peppers, I just don't do well with peppers outside unless it's been on my balcony, and that's because I have a south facing balcony. It's very, very hot, and while the allotment is also very hot and in sunlight all day, peppers just don't do well there. And so my cucumbers I want to do in the greenhouse again. I want to do peppers in the greenhouse. I want to do aubergines in the greenhouse. So I thought if I redid the floor, I then have the ability to have it in sort of like 2 modes, so March through to May, June, I've got it in like seed mode and raising my tender seedlings, and then June through August, September, I can use it for growing, and then at the end of the season I can take the grow bags out, compost everything, and then probably just leave it over the winter, and then come back in the spring and start again. So that was a big job, but really enjoyed doing it. And I think the best thing was when it was done, I was like, this is exactly how I imagined it would be. So I was really, really pleased with that. And then after that, it was just getting to work on the beds. So we've got 2 really big beds where we grow in like traditional rows. We've got quite a few raised beds. We've got a very, very long bed along one side because we have a long, narrow allotment. And then we've just been figuring it out really, but honestly I've got a lot planted out. Things I'm growing this year are lots of potatoes, lots of salad things, lettuce, tomatoes. I'm also doing a lot of brassicas, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, black kale, pak choy, We're doing leek and beetroot. I've got broad beans growing. We've got runner beans. We've got French beans. Things like rocket is growing. What else have we got? Desperately searching my brain. I'm actually walking through my allotment in my head. We've got onions growing. I've got some cos lettuce as well. Then I've got sweet corn, peas. I've got some herbs. I plant basil in with my tomatoes every year, as well as marigolds. Also, I have some oregano growing. I've got pumpkins. I've got a massive pumpkin patch. I've got far too many pumpkins. Can you ever have enough pumpkins? I don't know that you can. And I've got some radishes. They're just a decoy because I found out in the first year when I planted out loads of radishes because they grow fast, not because I eat them. I don't like radishes. They're one of the few things I don't like. But I did notice that all the slugs and snails flocked to that bed and munched them and enjoyed them, and they left the rest of my produce alone. So I've got decoy radishes this year. I'm hopeful that I'm going to attract them all, and they'll leave everything else alone. So I'll let you know how that goes. And then down the side, my big long bed down the side, I've got apple trees, pear trees, cherry tree. Cherries are looking fantastic. I'm so excited. I've also got gooseberry bush. I've got blackberries. I've got a fig tree, which is a new addition. And then I've got white currants and goji berries and another gooseberry bush, a red gooseberry bush. Oh, I can't even think what else I've got, but there's so much growing, and it's been so fun the last 2 months. We have turned the allotment around from the dregs of winter and all of that rain, and turned it round, and it just looks incredible. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to the season. This is my favourite part of the year. It's the most expensive part of the year as well, in compost and things like that. I mostly grow everything from seed, but sometimes I'll be at the garden centre and I'm like, I didn't think I was going to want broad beans, but suddenly I've decided that I do. And so I did buy myself some plug plants. I got broad beans, and then I went and bought more seeds, which, yeah, that's me all over. So many seeds. I've planted so much this year. There was one point where I was like, I can't find space for one more single thing. I really can't. And I was just at the point where I was like, should I buy some extra shelving? Is it too late in the season that I won't get the use out of it? And I was like, I'll wait. And it was lucky because then, the weather warmed up and I was finally able to start getting things outside. Oh, courgettes is another thing that I'm growing. Yeah, it was a random thought, just came into my mind. So it was one of the first things I planted out. So yeah, everything is looking good. We've created a few new beds. One of the beds at the back is terrible, full of weed and bindweed and just horrible. So I've chucked a load of potatoes in there. I'm going to hope for the best, hope it will help the soil out there. But yeah, everything is looking really, really good. I was able to use our own compost this year, and that was a lot of fun. I've been working on that for a while. It's about 18 months I think that bin had been in operation, but the compost was beautiful. So looking forward to doing that more and more as the years go by. So that was a lot of fun, and yeah, everything is looking good, really, really good, and I'm really excited for the season ahead.
Are you ready to slow down and embrace simplicity even in the midst of life's imperfections? I've got just the thing for you. Discover my free guide, Imperfect Slow Living, designed to help you find peace and simplicity in your everyday life, no matter what it looks like. Slow down and breathe, unwind and rediscover calm no matter how hectic life gets. Simplify your life one step at a time with practical tips. You don't have to be perfect to enjoy the beauty of slow living. It's time to make a change. Visit theslowlivingcollective.com/slowliving to download your free guide today. Start your journey towards a more deliberate and intentional life. Slow living isn't about perfection. It's about finding peace in the imperfections of life. Download your guide and embrace a simpler, slower and more meaningful life. That's theslowlivingcollective.com/slowliving.
Well, I hope that was interesting. I don't know if it was, but I just wanted to do a little update where we are, what we've been up to. Mostly home, mostly allotment. We had a few days out as well in the time my husband had off work, and that was a lot of fun. Took the kids to the zoo, and yeah, just good stuff, just enjoyable. My little boy, just by the time this episode airs, just turned 3. I can't believe it. Can't believe he's 3. It's crazy. I can't believe I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Where did the years go? I don't know. But yeah, just been enjoying ourselves, enjoying home educating, and just enjoying some nice weather at last, being out on the plot. Like I said earlier in the episode, not having the access to the balcony really sort of has made us spend more time at the allotment. Like, it's not difficult because we love being there, but you know, when the sun's shining, we're like, right, let's get up and out and go. Whereas usually we might, I guess, spend some more time on the balcony. But I'm excited about the way it's happened this year because we've spent a lot of time at the allotment. We've got it really, really nice. I'm so proud of how hard we've worked and how we've turned it round. You know, they tend to look a bit sad after the winter, and it was fine, but now it looks really good, and I'm just really pleased, and hopefully we'll just be able to maintain it through the summer with all the weeds. That's always fun, but yeah, keeping on top of the weeds can be a full-time job, so let's hope we can do that, because I usually lose power by the time the weeds start sort of coming up through the summer. I'm like, oh goodness me. But you know, we'll have the balcony as well back in operation through the summer, so just looking forward to being outside. We've spent a lot of time outside and we really, really love it. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's the update, and you can expect an episode every week from now on. Thank you for honouring my little break with me, and I've got lots of exciting episodes coming up with lots of fantastic guests, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you for sticking with me while I took a little break. And yeah, if you want to follow me, you can come follow me over on Instagram. You can find me there at the Slow Living Collective. You can find me on TikTok as well at the Slow Living Collective there as well. You can follow the blog, which is theslowlivingcollective.com. So yeah, thank you so much for being patient, and thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you in the next episode.